Wicked Metal Reviews.
Alright, so, lots of big stuff have come out in the world of Destiny and Bungie, and it kind of calls the future of Destiny into question a little bit. All these things that have come out. So,
Calls everything about Destiny into question, really.
So, there's two things that I got announced. Let's start with the simpler one, I feel, which is the bug that, which if you didn't know, when Bungie put up their most recent patch, I think it was when they did the Engram patch.
Yeah, last Tuesday.
What had happened was a lot of missions, like extra missions, started showing up on the map, but it said requirements not met, and they were expansion missions on a bunch of planets, and it all totaled up to 6 story missions, 3 strikes, and 2 raids.
Yeah.
And so a lot of people got, the legitimacy of this was called into question. A lot of people got mad because if that's all there is between these 2 expansions, I've already got the season's pass.
It also makes it seem like it's on disc. Like that is on disc content that is completely locked out, and you have to pay extra money to get it.
Now here's the thing. Now here's what's it. Bungie has come out and said that yes, everything that you see is there. It might not be there in its final form, and that I think what it was that these were kind of like placeholders in a way. That there should be more, but like they kind of put them in as almost like, you know what I mean? So like they had like these things kind of. The bigger things that they knew they were going to do with the stories of the expansions kind of pre-built in, just because, maybe to save from the load of having a download, instead of having an even bigger download, they made it a little bit smaller by having some of it natively on the disc.
Or it's on the disc and they just gutted it once you pay for it. That's a completely legitimate.
That's a legitimate option.
But at the same time, it wasn't like waypoints. It was just like they moved the cursor over this certain spot of the map, or like the destination's map, and it just popped up. So it wasn't really that the destination was there, it's just that this kind of happened to pop up in a lot of places.
I'll get my opinion out on this really quick. I honestly think a lot of people are, at least to me, are just kind of overreacting a little bit. Like, yeah, I get that there is the issue that if that's all the content there is, then yeah, I'll be pissed too. But Bungie's also come out and said that they're not done with the expansion.
There is still a chance for more content to be added.
Lots of content. It's supposedly, according to, the Destiny companion app or whatever it is, there's going to be new planets. Mercury, Jupiter, and Saturn. They said that they're going to be added. So that's whole new planets, which means, probably 6-7 missions per planet, at least 1 strike, maybe 2, maybe even a raid or something. Per planet, new area to explore, possibly new enemies or enemy types, and that's not even including things outside of the story that they could add, which is like, new weapons, a new weapon type, new Crucible maps, new Crucible modes,
new matchmaking systems,
new raising the level cap, new subclasses for all the classes. Like, there's so much that they could add that I think that, which looking at the map. Because you can only look at the map of the 4 planets that you can visit, or the 4 satellites that you can visit. Just by looking at that, I think there is too much unknown to make a judgment on what that means, honestly.
And the first expansion isn't going to even drop yet for another 2 months at least. They're not dropping until
still time to make
until December.
Yeah,
they're probably still putting content into these packs because the first one's the Dark Below.
Dark Below is the first one.
Yeah. So, people need to calm the fuck down and chill out. Yes, it will be extremely upsetting to me if all we get is
a total
of 11 new missions
for our $35 that we had to add for the season's pass. You get 11 missions, which don't get me wrong, I will be pissed too, but it's like. There's going to be more than that.
Now, I also understand that some of these missions are rather meaty.
Yeah.
The raid, it's like the raid that's out right now, the Vault of Glass, supposedly takes several hours to even come close to completing if you have a near flawless run. So, in terms of content size, these 11 missions may not look like a whole lot, but you could be getting
a mission that's like an hour.
Yeah, you could be getting. We're going to be getting probably close to 20 hours worth of content just with what we know of alone.
Mm. I mean, I'm sure the expansions will be cool. I just think there should be a hell of a lot more than that.
Oh yeah.
Whether they're meaty or not, there needs to be
more. Yeah, and I fully agree with that.
That's what
there's two other things we also don't know if maybe because there's so many different like places where the darkness is there or whatever, and you can't go through. So it's like, oh, you can go through here now, and this is the new area. You know, you can go to Old Chicago, which has been rumored for a long time. Go to the.
I mean, I just hope there's like actually new areas, and I'm not talking like, oh, here's the Hellmouth. There's a new area in the Hellmouth that you get to go to. Fuck that shit, because I mean, there's already enough backtracking in the game as it is. But that's what I'm hoping, that they're adding a new area or planet or something.
I'm more concerned about that with planets like Venus and Earth, because especially with Earth. I mean, since we live on that planet, we know there is a variety of different terrains and
or even
what's the word I'm looking for? The places that you can go to. Whereas like the moon's going to look like the moon no matter where you go, so they can just add a little bit on to like the side or something. So I mean,
go to the dark side of the moon.
That'd be cool.
I'll see you on the dark side of the moon.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm sure I will purchase the expansions. I just want to know really good details of what's in them exactly. But I'm just hoping that there's a hell of a lot more in it than.
Which Bungie has said they're going to come out and say, hey, we're gonna give out more for the stuff. So.
Yeah. And I guess in terms of other more things that have come to light, apparently the whole original story of Destiny was completely different.
Well, there's some parts that are
the same. Similar, but the whole overarching concept of the story was completely different.
It sounds so fucking cool.
It sounded really good.
Now, my thing is, which we're going to talk about this, assuming that it is true. I mean, this is, and I mean, it's kind of with a grain of salt with I guess somebody taking it down. I'm assuming Bungie talked to somebody and they got to take it down.
Oh, the whole Reddit post, yeah.
But I mean, it's just a Reddit post. I mean, anybody can post on Reddit. At least at this point, there's no way to check the validity of this article. But we shall move forward.
But there have been people that like were some of the original playtesters that have come out and said under anonymity, because they technically were not legally allowed to put talk about the game, but now that the game's released, they figure, hey, it's already out, that contract's null and void. That the version of Destiny that these people played is nothing at all like the Destiny that was released a couple weeks ago.
Yeah. And the thing that feels... The reason why I think so many people are thinking that this is legitimate is because of just how kind of awkward this game's story actually is.
Yeah.
Because it seems like things were just blatantly removed. And, that's why I'm like, oh, well, this seems very legitimate. Because this also seems like a very Bungie story to write. And,
so now,
it just feels like there's huge fucking holes. But I think we should fill people in on what the story actually was before, if they don't know. The original story followed a different character called the Crow. And if you saw trailers from way back when, 2013, when Destiny was revealed and stuff, you saw this guy pointing a gun at your Guardian. And that is the Crow. That guy is the Crow. And the Crow is technically now the Queen's brother. They don't even have a name.
Is he
it's
the
just
Queen's
called
brother?
the Queen's brother.
Yeah, it was said in one of
So the original story followed the Crow, and who was introduced early on in the story in place of the Stranger. The story takes an unexpected turn after being abducted on Earth by Crow's group, which comprises of the former Ghostless Guardians. The player learns there's something wrong with one of the group's senior members, the Speaker. The Speaker is in the game. and this is from IGN. So they say, what would cause the speaker to leave the tower and join the Crow and his band of former guardians? Well, according to the Post, the Traveler, person responsible for stopping the darkness, is also the cause of the darkness. Which, that's kind of true. That is true.
Yeah,
That is
the main
true.
game.
So I mean,
In this version, the Traveler transports the darkness to Earth with him, bringing the collapse of the Golden Age, infecting Earth's technology to a point where it nearly wipes out all humankind. Eventually, the player ends up being sent to Venus to recover a Gatekeeper's eye, which you do, which is said to be a powerful AI. Yeah. And then the poster goes on to mention blah, blah, blah. So...
Something about Rasputin.
Rasputin and the Cabal, like...
Yeah. There's just a whole lot of things that were there that seem to have been gutted from the story. However, it could be argued that some of these things will be revealed at a later date.
Yeah.
This whole concept of, hey, maybe what we see now is before the speaker leaves the tower and joins the Crow and this
Yeah.
group.
It could be.
Because the stranger has no ghost.
Yeah,
So-
and the thing is that this seems cool because there's actually substantial story. There's substantial characters in here
Yeah.
that you would be like, oh, I know who that person is. There seems to be a substantial enemy, a substantial conflict.
Yeah.
Something that all those things are not in the game.
There's
it
also-
just feels absent.
Yeah.
There's also information given to the player about what the story fucking is.
Yeah, you actually know what's
Yeah.
happening, and
So
that's the thing.
So, when we were discussing this, I think last night before we talked into the video, I kind of I have like 4 semi-interconnected theories about this, which is probably the most likely, which I think branches off, is that, probably somebody from either higher up in Bungie or Activision, said that, went up to the development team and they're like, oh, well, this game is selling really, really well. You need to make more games. And because it doesn't take 8 years to write this story.
No, there's no way in hell it took
Or
8 years for this story.
The lack of story. It doesn't take 8 years. So, to me, Destiny seems like a game where they have the entire story at least mapped out somewhat. They might not have every detail filled in, but they know where the story is going to go. So it would make sense maybe if they're like, oh, we need to spread this out, because Destiny to me seemed like, when I first heard about it, like a two game franchise.
At least a 2, possibly 3 game franchise.
So it's like, oh, now if you follow the roadmap that supposedly goes out, that's now it's a 4 or 5 game franchise supposedly.
Yeah.
If you believe that. So I just think maybe they would like, well, we already have these holes figured out, and it's like, well, now we need to spread it out a little bit more. And so that might be one of the reasons for why this happened.
See, I completely disagree with that. I think that's really fucked up. From that just seems very greedy and money hungry.
From a consumer standpoint, that's fucked up.
In my opinion, you sell the first game. That in the first game is important in the franchise. You set up the whole story. You make it as good as you possibly can, and then you build upon that. You don't gut the first game just to throw it out for other games.
Yeah,
Which
I
I'm
do
not.
see that.
I'm not justifying this.
Yeah, I
I'm
mean, that
simply
just
giving a
seems
reason.
Fucked up to me.
The second thing was, a lot of people, has speculated that, the number of writers that left Bungie had something to do with it. That for whatever reason, when they left, their stories weren't used. And you had mentioned this before, that it seems to me that it was more like they left because the story got gutted.
Could be that's just
Didn't like the lead writer, the guy who pretty much wrote most of the story for Destiny, like
Yeah,
he left Bungie, but he's like, the game is pretty much done, or the story is pretty much done.
and he said he left on good terms. But
So I mean, that's I mean, I don't know.
I think that did have an effect on this game's final story.
And then the last 2 things, which are kind of interconnected, which is, if you look at this game in general, this game just seems like it has not a lack of direction. I had a better word for it before. It just seems like it's misguided.
It
in the sense
has no
of like,
sense of self.
if you look at it like, and this is shown through 2 things very, very well, which is the loot system. Originally, they've somewhat patched it. The loot system was originally based almost completely on luck. Now it's still somewhat based on luck, but now it's a lot more fair.
Yeah.
And so, they messed up and they were willing to fix that. And then the other thing is the Grimoire card system, which I do agree. There should be a way to look at those in game.
Yeah,
But the way that I see it, it's like, you know, you look at websites. A lot of people, when they want to learn more about the game, you know, I want to learn more about Skyrim. I go to the Elder Scrolls wiki. I want to learn more about Assassin's Creed. I go to the Assassin's Creed wiki. But those are run by third-party people. You know, there's the possibility of misprinted information. So,
But also with
maybe
any-
Bungie was like, well, we'll just cut out the middleman. We'll give you the information, and it's 100% factual all the time.
Although the thing about like wikis like that is, you have to give a source for your information.
Well, yes, but you know, there's the possibility that something could even be just mistyped. At least
Yeah.
they're Bungie. It is right from them.
The thing I don't understand about this game is with certain things like the Grimoire cards, the loot system, you have hundreds of people playtesting this game constantly.
Yeah.
And no one goes, this is kind of broken. We
Yeah.
should fix this. It's...
Yeah.
So
That's the thing about some of the issues that are very blatantly obvious with this game. It's just, how did someone not realize that when they were
Yeah.
playtesting?
yeah. So with the Grimoire cards, it seems like they were trying again, slightly misguided, to make a game that left enough things unanswered that you wanted to know more. Not a game that frustratingly doesn't tell you anything. Which, honestly, at least in my opinion, there is a razor-thin line between those things. It's easy to kind of accidentally hop over, and then it's like, whoops. Like, you know, I could see maybe that was what they were trying to go for. They just messed up. And then again, you can't blame them. And then kind of off of that, they kind of been like, people want more. We should really make the DLCs, the expansions, really good, because if they're not good, then people are going to complain that, oh, we just wasted $40, $35, $40 on expansions. So maybe they're like, you know, and again, I'm not justifying this at all. Maybe some of these content things got moved over because it's like, oh, you know, people are going to be pissed if the expansions aren't good and they wasted another $40 on a game. On a game that they thought maybe did good. You know, maybe they thought Destiny was okay. You know, that's... It's their creation, it's their thing. There's a lot that we don't know.
I think if the expansions aren't good, and then for the next game or next big, huge expansion, if they do like a regular MMO type thing, you know what I mean? They're going to have to work a hell of a lot harder to sell.
Yeah.
Like, hey, this is so much better. The story is so much better. You know, there's new gameplay mechanics. They're going to have to work a hell of a lot harder.
Yeah.
But
To convince people, because I assume there's going to be 3 expansions, just because, like we said, there's rumored to be 3 planets. So I mean, 1 planet per expansion.
Yeah,
maybe.
but then I think that, to me, I feel like adding a planet in a $20 expansion, I feel like that's better saved for a big ass expansion or a sequel or however they decide to do it. If you know what I mean.
Yeah, I could see
But
that.
also maybe open up for these big sequels. Open up more places on the planets you've already been. Like open up Old Chicago. Which was rumored to be in
the
there.
shipwreckage in the Rings of Saturn, which IGN had claimed was those
open up,
ships.
open up parts of the reef, or the
reef.
reef. Hell, add ship-to-ship combat, because you can
Yeah.
clearly see weapons on the Guardians' jump ships.
Yeah.
They're clearly there. So maybe give us a reason to buy these ships.
Exactly, because they're loading screens.
Yeah, but also, the one thing that really does kind of give me at least a little ray of hope is the fact that Bungie does seem to be listening, at least a little bit, to the community. For example, the loot patch that just
The
went
event
live.
patch. The event patch.
The
that they
event
did,
patch,
which was like a
made
week
public.
in.
Yeah, not even a weekend. It was like half a weekend. They made public events happen at least twice as often out in the open world.
Yeah.
The loot patch, they patched, the engrams, saying you're guaranteed to at least get the rank of the engram you got, if not better. And they patched scout rifles so they do more damage in the Crucible.
Yeah, I mean, they kind of have to, right?
Yeah.
Because this game was supposed to be the game to just usher in
The new
generation. This was going to be the defining thing for the new generation. This is how games are going to be. In a couple aspects, it is, but then
It has
It
potential.
has a lot
was-
of glaring problems.
Yeah.
but then it just kind of fell a little bit short, and it was a little bit overhyped and everything. And I can throw myself in there to blame.
Yeah.
So they have to listen. They have to fix this game, and this game's going to be if you said, if you're playing Destiny right now and you're just like, I can't stand this game right now. I'm done with it. And then a year later you come back, you play this game, it's going to be completely different.
I know.
I feel
to
like
me, it
that's
seems
gonna
like
be the case,
Bungie's
yeah.
making
going
like at
to-
least like one huge change like every week.
It's
or
going
two.
to pull a Diablo 3. I have that feeling, which is good.
Yeah.
Which is what they need to do.
I mean, I feel like this game, while it didn't reach the hype that was built up for it, it still has a lot of potential as a
Oh, yeah.
game, as a franchise,
It's
as a brand new IP. Any new IP is going to stumble
It's
out
a
of the gate.
good foundation.
Yeah,
for sure.
Any new IP is going to stumble out the gate.
Yeah. And the last thing I want to throw in here for the future of Destiny, if there were 3 things that you think, like the 3 biggest things besides the story, which I mean will hopefully get fixed with the expansion, but things that are actually tangibly fixable, what do you think they should change with the game? To me, I would say 1, fix the loot system in the Crucible, make it actually make somewhat sense.
Yeah.
Like, maybe have it so, like, if you're on the first place team and you get first, second, or third place, you have the highest chance of getting really good items.
Yeah.
Whereas if you're last place on the last, you're 4th, 5th, and 6th on the losing team, I mean, yeah, you'll still maybe get stuff, but it'll be like, you'll get a higher chance of getting blues. Like,
Or maybe like materials or things like
I mean,
that.
after a while, all you need is materials. So I mean,
Yeah.
maybe you could argue that could be first place. 2, I said.
Well, I'm
they
not
should
saying
add-
like legendary,
Yeah.
but like weapon parts or sapphire wire or things like
I
that.
said for number 2, I said reading Grimoire cards like in game. That should just that should have been in the game in the first place. If that's the thing. And then number 3, I think they should. And I said this before. They should at some point raise the hard and soft level cap. And I think it'd be really cool if they had like an arbitrary like set of armor and a gun or something, where it's like it could be like the best stuff in the game, and that's how that is how you get up above whatever the current level cap is. Like let's say they raise the soft level cap, and so with light you can get up to 35. But if you want to get to 40, there's this armor set that you can get bounties to get. They're like the hardest bounties in the game. Like you have to beat you have to beat all the strikes and do all kinds of literally the hardest stuff in the game. And it's like you get this armor that's just ungodly. Like I feel like something like that would add a final goal with this game because after a while it seems like I made it to 26. I have nothing to aspire to because there's not really any content above 26 besides the weekly Nightfall Strike.
Yeah. I think, something they could really fix, they need to fix with the expansions, at least, is the mission designs.
Yeah.
They're absolutely lazy as shit most of the time. Some of the missions, or when they have some cool twists, such as
Sword
you
Crush.
get on the interceptors, the swords, that shit is really engaging. It's really cool. But if I have to defend Dinklebot for the 50,000th fucking time, it's going to be frustrating. It's lazy to me.
And I think I can explain that. And again, it's a fallacy on Bungie's part. They were probably like, let's get we want somebody like Cortana. Let's get a recognizable face. And then so that they managed to get Peter Dinklage. Oh, we're paying him a lot of money. We should probably use him a lot. And so then that's how that ended up, that you end up guarding him every way so that they could use him a lot, because it's like, we're paying you. I mean, if it's Peter Dinklage, they're probably paying him a couple $1 million to do this. It's like, we want to make sure we get our money's worth out of this. So that could be an explanation. It's not a good one. Again, it's not justifying it. It's just saying that could be a reason why.
Yeah, but they could use him more in a way like Cortana.
Yeah. Making me care.
Yeah. So I think the mission designs need to be fixed. 2, there needs to be a fast travel system. When you get to a planet, you should be able to fast travel to key points all over the place. Because you can hop on your Sparrow, you can go there. That still takes a little while. Why can't I just pull up this even goes to just adding a map to know where the fuck you're at. Because if you're on Mars, you don't know where the fuck you're at. You're just looking at sand the whole fucking time.
Yeah.
So add a map, and then I can hover over here. Boom, I can go to the buried city. Over here, I can go to
Meridian Bay.
Meridian Bay. A fast travel system would do this game justice. And I think I agree with Keith with the loot system in the Crucible. I'm just going to say the loot system in general, because it's still based off of luck too much, if you know what I mean.
Yeah.
Diablo 3, yes, there's a little bit of luck in there in getting a legendary.
But you get a lot of.
But you can cheat,
Yeah.
like you can increase your chance of
Exactly.
getting something.
Increasing your chances, or just them buffing up the chances of getting a legendary engram by just a wee little bit would
Yeah.
do justice. But mostly in the Crucible, because it feels like you are just playing a fucking slot machine
Yeah.
when
Yeah.
it comes to the loot. And it's like, man, I wrecked. I went 25-2. Oh, I didn't get anything, but Joe Schmo in the middle of the pack gets a legendary engram, and that's really fucked up. And I agree with what Keith said. So I think that would do this game justice. And there's a lot of things that I think, but those are the three big things that I feel could really, really make a difference.
Yeah, I mean, I agree with everything Keith Tyler said so far. I guess one of the three things for me is the matchmaking system needs to be a little bit better balanced,
A little
because
You're
we're sitting there, me, Keith, Tyler, Frank, who are all like in the mid-20s, but a guy on our team is like level 8,
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah.
and the guy in the level 8 guy is just getting destroyed by the other team.
Yeah. I mean, I've destroyed people on the other team that are like level 12.
Yeah.
And it's like, oh.
Well, you
Yeah.
you suck.
Yeah, you just
Like-
don't have good stuff. Yeah, I agree with that.
But at the same time, it's like we have not the best stuff, but we got better gear than someone who's level 20. There needs to be a little bit better balancing there. Even the ability to do like private matches would be
Yeah.
cool.
That
Yeah.
would be
Like
awesome.
if we like for Rumble, let's say me, Keith, and Tyler want to just beat the hell out of each other
Mhm.
playing Rumble. We can't do that because we're gonna have to fill a lobby with a bunch of random people.
I agree.
And we're gonna run into mostly the randoms, and then
Yeah.
be like, oh well, fuck.
So like it would just be a lot more stupid shit would happen between us in the game if we were able to do that.
Yeah.
Again, being the ability to look at my Grimoire cards in game instead of having to pull up the companion app or Bungie.net on my laptop.
Yeah.
Even something simple as that would make sense. And just being able to join fire teams easier. Like, let's say I meet someone out in the wild. Like, let's just say I happen to stumble across Keith out doing a patrol on Venus, and I want to join his fire team if we're not already in one. Well, now I have to not only join his fire team, I have to sit through like 2-3 loading screens, and then travel to where he's at after I spawn back in on Venus, even though I was just next to him 2 fucking minutes ago.
Yeah.
And I only say 2 minutes because the loading screens take so damn long.
Mm.
Like,
How about also
Or trade.
trading?
Yeah.
Trading is a huge thing.
I mean, even if it was just trading
Trading with-
materials.
Yeah.
Trading fire, just with your fire team. That's all I'm asking.
Yeah, or,
Yeah.
or with your clan.
with
It's
your
like-
clan.
Or it's like, hey, I have a lot of ascended shards. Oh yeah, I need a lot of ascended shards. What do you need? I need spin metal. I have a lot of spin metal. You had a
Yeah.
lot of I needed spin metal. I still need spin metal. Every single legendary I have needs spin metal to upgrade.
Yeah.
And like, what do you have, like 28? Something, what was it?
It's like 30.
You have like 30. I'm like,
I'm
it-
never going to need them.
yeah. So
But
it's like,
at,
well,
at
fuck.
the same time, like, most true MMOs like that have like guild systems and all that, there is a guild bank
Yeah.
where they can store anything they. I mean, I'm okay with not trading weapons. I can kind of see where Bungie's coming from, saying, "Yeah, we want you to feel like you've earned these weapons."
At least materials.
Like that, yeah. But materials,
Maybe
shit,
an
even
armor
Glimmer.
shader. An armor shader. Maybe like,
Yeah,
oh,
armor
I'm
shaders,
kind of broke. Oh,
like,
here's
yeah,
some Glimmer.
cosmetic
Yeah,
stuff,
or-
After a while-
ships.
Because after a while, you get Glimmer that you're just not going to use.
Yeah,
I mean,
or
like-
exotics. You should not be able to trade exotics.
Like
Yeah,
put
I
certain
agree
things
with
that are
that.
like bind on pickup or bind on equip.
Yeah.
Like you pick it up like you get a ship blueprint, you pick it up. All right, like a rare ship or a legendary ship. You know, all right, that item is bound to you, but like the green ships or white ships, yeah, we can throw those into the guild bank.
Yeah, so just
Yeah.
things like that would just help this game out a lot.
I think something, and it's so small to me, but it would just make such a huge difference. You press on PlayStation 4, you press the touchpad, you click that in, you hold in triangle, you go to orbit. But I just want to go to the tower. How about I click the thing, I hold in circle, I'm going straight to the tower.
Yeah, I don't
because
have to go
right
to
now you
orbit.
have to go to orbit, go through the load screen to orbit, go click on the tower, set your destination, hit launch, go through another fucking thing, another loading screen. Why can't I just go to the tower?
That's another thing that I forgot that I'll mention really quick. I think with the next game, because they can't really do it with the expansions, they should flip the dynamic of this game. This game feels like you are basically at the tower and then you're going to various places. It should feel like you're in the world in various places, except
Yeah.
occasionally you go to the tower.
I
Yeah.
completely agree with that.
Like, just somehow, and I think a lot of it would just be making it a lot like Skyrim, how there's just put like a bunch of like, make the patrol missions actually kind of worth it. Like, oh, you go down here, clear out this dungeon.
Well, just populate the world with more things to do, more things to see.
More
Yeah,
variety
more-
in patrol
yeah,
missions.
More
Because-
people.
Because
or
if it's like,
something.
oh, it's like, once you get done whatever it is you want to do, there's no reason to stay in the world, so you always go back to the tower. And so it's like,
Exactly.
we're to another
And they
planet.
want you to explore the world. That's the focus of the game. I completely agree with that.
But there's nothing to explore.
So,
There's
but,
nothing
but,
to
but I
see.
mean, maybe if they add more stuff in the expansions, maybe that'll fix it a little bit. I want to spend more time down, on Earth because go in here, gotta clear out this guy, or a random like slightly more powerful named captain who has slightly more health and shields and he's a higher level spawns in this building or this kind of I guess you'd call them dungeon areas of the map, and it's like, oh, go down there, kill him for a reward. It's like, oh, sweet. Or maybe some kind of mission we have to track down a specific enemy somewhere.
And-
It's just stuff. That's all I care about. It's just stuff.
And speaking of the shields, don't give all primary weapons elemental abilities, but give some of them elemental damage. Because most of the time you're using your primary weapon, it only does physical damage, whereas some of the high rank enemies are using shields that require solar energy to really just rip through, or void, or arc energy. Well, no. The only primary weapon I know that has any sort of elemental damage is
When you get from the raid.
the Mythic Glass, which you can possibly get from the raid. And even still, it's taking forever for some of these weapons to take down the shields of, these which already have a large amount of health as it is. Their shields regenerate 20 times faster than regular, people.
Yeah.
I just think also too they need to figure out a way
to where you can have fun, you can level up your armor, you can level up your character without doing the same fucking shit over and over and over and over and over again.
Yeah.
Because what do you do in the end game in this game? There is really no end game in my opinion.
Yeah.
You do the same story missions, the same fucking strikes over and over again. That just gets old. You need to keep the player doing other things. There's bounties. Go kill this guy. But it's still part of the mission. Do other things.
Just add a bunch of other stuff, and that's what I said about the armor. Give me something after I reach the soft level cap and I have to start grinding. Give me something to grind towards. Besides, hey, you're gonna grind so that you can play even more another part of the game.
Yeah.
Give me a set of armor that's this armor is just really, maybe it's an armor. It's this has the maximum amount of light you can get, even if they don't even raise the level caps.
Yeah.
It automatically gives you it's automatically fully upgraded, maximum amount of light that you can get. It's just really, really good armor, and you can only get it once you're level 30, and then you do a bunch of shit after you do level 30, and it's beating a bunch of raids or doing the strike on the hardest difficulty you can, stuff like that.
And with these armor sets, I love how in Diablo, when you start going after armor sets, they actually will boost your stats for having a certain number of items from that set.
Yeah.
Like the hunter once legendary set I want for the hunter is the Ghost Angel set. All right, give me bonuses for having the entire Ghost Angel set or the entire Dustwalker set,
Yeah.
or even
Agree
just
with that.
so many pieces of it. Like
Yeah.
just
Yeah, stuff.
not even like damage pieces, like just passive stuff would be fine with me.
Mhm. I agree.
Yeah.
I don't know.
But again, Bungie seems to be listening to
So
their
I mean,
community. So
I mean, stuff like that seems like a next game kind
Yeah.
of thing.
This game tries to do a lot of things. It tries to be well-rounded.
It needs
But
to
it's-
flesh out those things.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it tries to do
Too
a
much.
bunch of things, but it's not really good at doing any one of those things, if you know what I mean.
yeah.
You know what I mean? But we're sitting here and complaining, but these are things that we want them to add or fix or whatever, to just because it would just be
It would make the
an
experience
incredible
better.
experience. I mean, we've all probably put maybe 30 to 40 hours into this game since
Yeah.
launch. I
Yeah.
mean, I'm still having a really fun time with this game, but it is starting to get, to me, a little bit old. And
Yeah.
just doing the same shit over and over again. So, I mean, if they add these things, I'm completely down, because this game's a hell of a ton of fun to play.
Yeah.
It's just, they need to
Give me more.
expand a hell of a lot more.
Flesh it out. Yeah.
Well,
Expansions. Just joking.
gotta pay for it.
Gotta pay for
You
it.
gotta pay $100 in order to get the full Destiny experience.
Yeah.
Yeah. Keith and I already did.
I'm at commitment level already.
Yeah,
so
we're at
screw it.
commitment level.
Yeah, I know.
We'll let you know how the DLCs are.
No, I'll probably end up just fucking getting it.
Yeah.
Alright, so.
Alright,
Alright.
cool.
Check out our review of Destiny. We reviewed it. It's on our fucking channel.
And shit. And stuff.
Yeah. You should watch it.
Yeah, buddy.
And
Definitely.
you should also definitely blaze it.
You should blaze it.
Oh, yeah.
Always blaze.